May your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears. These were words spoken by the late, great Nelson Mandela as he was ascending to the presidency in South Africa, getting ready to lead a divided nation. And whether you're getting ready to lead a nation or just actually lead in your own life, I think these are amazing words to live by. Hi everyone, Chris Natzke here with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching with your Mind of a Champion tip of the week. One of my absolute favorite movies of all time is Invictus, starring Morgan Freeman, where he plays Nelson Mandela, who's just been released from a 27-year prison sentence and has now ascended to become the president of South Africa. And he's getting ready to lead a deeply divided nation. He has the Afrikaners who are very, very leery of having him come into power, and they're fearful of their rights being taken away and that there's going to be retribution that's going to be forced upon them. And then he's got the group of Native Africans who very much, many of them are just seeking revenge. And what he has to do is he has to unify these 43 million countrymen to be one nation. And the way he does it is he does it through the national rugby team. And it's an amazing story on how he steps aside from all of this idea of polarization and he brings them together. And what he's basically doing is through the focus on this team and unifying them by the rugby team is he's allowing people to come behind one common cause and let go of their fears, let go of their anger. And how many times in our own life are we holding ourselves back because we're holding on to old fears, old grudges, etc., and old worries? You know, one of my favorite studies that I read several years ago is by a man named Robert Leahy. And he had a study as well as a book by the same name called The Worry Cure. And what he did is he brought a group of people together and he said, I want you to list all the things you're worried about occurring in your life in the month ahead. And I want you to write each one, list them in great detail. List, worries about your job, worry about money, worries about relationships, worries about health. Write them down in as great a detail as you can. What are the things you fear the most? And so people did that and they handed it in. And he said, okay, great. Thanks so much. Now here's what I want you to do. Go live your life for the next month. The next 30 days, live your life normally. Don't make any major changes. And then let's come back in about 32, 33 days and you tell us what you found. Well, here's what they found. 85% of the things that people noted on there that they were most worried about never happened. They never happened. But now what some of you are thinking, 15% did. But here's what they found out about that 15%. Of the 15% of those things they noted that did occur, 79% of the time they said, A, they weren't as bad as they thought they were going to be, or B, they're actually happy it occurred because they learned from it. So if you do the math, what ends up happening is 97% of the things we're most fearful of, that we're most worried about occurring in our lives, either never happen or they aren't as bad as we thought they'd be. So the question then becomes is, how would you be if you knew that to be true? What risks would you take? What conversations would you have? And where would you let go of fears so that you could make sure that your hopes are leading it versus your life versus your fears? So I've got three things I want you to consider around this so that you can have your hopes lead you. Those are the choices that you're making versus the fearful choices that can hold you back. And number one is this, is take some time to reflect. Reflect in times in your life when you let fear lead. And how'd that work out for you? You know, generally speaking, when we are allowing our choices and our actions to be led by fear and worry, it doesn't have the greatest results in our lives. In fact, they tend not to age well. So think about those times in your life and the choices you'd make differently if you had it all over to do again because you allowed fear to lead versus courage from your heart. So reflect. Number two is reframe. You know, many times the most challenging times that we have in our lives, when we look back at them, we go, wow, as painful as they might have been, they're also some of the places where I grew the most. You know, I've shared with you many times on this blog that going through divorce was an incredibly painful time for me. But when I look through that experience now through a new lens, some 15 plus years later, I can see that although it was painful, it was necessary for me to grow. And the type of person, the type of man that I am now as a result of that experience, I think is a much better person than I was before. So being able to reframe those challenges as victories. And then finally is be able to risk. You know, make smart choices. You don't have to be reckless in this, but allow yourself to risk. They'll often say that hospice workers will tell people that when they're talking to people on their deathbed, the things that people are regretful of the most is not the things they did, but the things they didn't do, the risks they didn't take, the chances they didn't embark upon, the conversations they didn't have. So my question for you, my friends, is where do you have an opportunity to have a healthy risk in your life and allow fear to fall by the side? So there you have it, my friends. I hope that this week, ongoingly, you lean into something where you can say that your choices are led by your hopes and not your fears. And if you're looking for a way to really kind of break through some of those fears, check out the link below that I've got an upcoming program coming up that I call the Breaking Through Coaching Program, where I'm going to take a group of 8 people through a time where they can identify a breakthrough that they want to have in their life, as well as work together in a group to support them and then have me work as a one-on-one coach. So if you're interested in actually having that breakthrough, to finally, maybe for the last time, allow your hopes to lead your choices versus your fears, check out that program. I'm sure you'll be happy you did. So anyway, thanks so much for listening. I so appreciate you spending some time with me each week. Please like, share, and comment if you got some value from this. And this has been Chris Natzke with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching. And we'll see you next time on the Mind of a Champion Tip of the Week.